Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live stream and welcome to all your latest Chelsea news and match preview for the game against Sunderland. And of course, welcome to the home of the world champions. Hope everyone is doing well on this Friday morning, wherever you are in the world. Big up to yourselves. Smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here. All of that good stuff. And as always, make sure you get involved in the chat. There's plenty to dive into. Enzo Maresca confirming that Delap could be available for Chelsea's Carabao Cup tie against Wolves on Wednesday night. Maresca also confirmed that he had to have words with Marc Guiu about his training and it wasn't acceptable, which is why he hadn't been starting games until recently. We also got all the latest on the Sunderland game, which is being dubbed as the Marc Guiu derby. We'll go through lineups, predictions, all that sort of stuff, and all the other news that is out there. But just a quick reminder, as always, chat. First things first, make sure you check out Jersey's FC Soccer Shop. Link is in the description. Use code BLUEBROTHER for 20% off, free shipping, free customization, names, numbers, patches, whatever you want on the back, home kit, away kit, third kit, long sleeves, whatever you fancy, guys. Make sure you check it out. Use code BLUEBROTHER, 20% off. Link is in the description. Jersey's FC Soccer Shop. That is enough about that, because you lot haven't come to listen to me chat about shirts. We're talking football and we're talking of things that matter. The Blues looking to make it 5 wins in a row in all competitions. You know what's mad as well, by the way? Chelsea and Sunderland head into this game on identical records. Played 8, 4 wins, 2 draws, 2 defeats. 14 points apiece. If you'd said to me after 8 games that Sunderland would be coming to Stamford Bridge and we'd be level on points, I would have said Chelsea are having an absolute nightmare. The fact is we're not. Sunderland are doing very, very well. And fair play to them and fair play to the job that Regis Labrie is doing there, because he's doing an outstanding job. But anyway, let's see what some of you lot are saying and then we're going to dive into it. Yes, big up, brother. Play Guiu up front against Sunderland. I agree. Yes, morning, bro. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Yes, morning. Hope Fofana is well rested after the UCL game. Well, yeah, I mean, he didn't have too much to do. Yes, big up, brother. Big up. No, bro, I'm there. I was there after the Ajax game. Nottingham Forest game, we had problems with the sound. We did all of it, and then we went to upload them, and for some reason, the sound didn't work, so that's why there was none there. But yeah, no, I am still very much part of that and still doing it. So yeah, you will see me over there. You will see me over there. But let's dive into the main news then, and that is that Delap could return for Chelsea in their Carabao Cup tie against Wolves next week on Wednesday. We don't have any new injuries. Liam took part of the session yesterday with the team for the first time. He's not going to be available for tomorrow, but probably for the next one. So he's not confirmed that he definitely will play. But the fact that there's a chance that Delap could be available in this game is quite something. You know, he's been missing now since the game against Fulham at the end of August. August 30th is when he suffered that hamstring injury. Initial reports were suggesting it was going to be about a 10 to 12 week absence at the back end of August, so basically September. And Ornstein obviously reported at the time that, you know, they're looking at a swift return to action in November, which we are slightly ahead of schedule. Not by a lot, but we are slightly ahead of schedule. Things seem to be going very well in regards to his recovery, and that is a huge bonus for us. You know, we have very much missed Delap. Yes, Marc Guiu is now obviously doing well and is featured in the last few games, but we know that Delap has obviously been bought to be a main striker at Chelsea, and Guiu, whilst he's contributed, is obviously going to see his minutes reduced once Delap does return. Now, one thing that Chelsea have been very good at since Maresca's come in is not rushing players back from injury and managing their minutes carefully upon their return to avoid any slip-ups and any reoccurrence of injuries. That's really important. Really important to remember that. And that is something that we are doing well. So I'm pleased about that. And I've got no doubts that if Delap does feature on Wednesday, even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes, it will be because he is 100% ready to do so. The fact that he only returned to training for the first time since the end of August yesterday would suggest that I think this is maybe a little bit too soon for him. However, maybe he does get 5 or 10 minutes at the end of that game, depending on the context of it. But it would just be good to have him back in a matchday squad, going back through the motions again and whatnot, being with the team and all that sort of thing. You know, we can get him back up to speed because it feels like his Chelsea career hasn't really fully started yet. He had a brilliant performance in the game against West Ham. He started against Fulham, lasted, less than 15 minutes. And we haven't seen him since. So this is a major boost. And the big thing for us is that he is now going to be available for some key games. It looks like he should be able to play a reasonable role against Tottenham. We've got games coming up against Barcelona, Carabao in the Champions League, games away at Burnley, Arsenal coming up at the end of next month. If he can be sort of fully fit for that Barcelona and Arsenal double header at the end of next month, which is looking like it could be quite plausible, then this is really, really good news. And do you know what? This is something that the manager deserves credit for, something the medical staff deserve credit for as well. Because whilst we are picking up injuries, we're having very low reoccurrence rates because the recovery is being done properly. We're taking extra care. We're doing our due diligence. And the manager is managing the minutes very, very carefully. And so fair play to him for that. And I'm looking forward to Delap coming. Obviously, for Marc Guiu, it's a little bit of a blow for Delap to be coming so soon. You know, he got into the team at last season after Jackson's injury. Then he got injured in the same game. Then he gets recalled from Sunderland after Delap got injured. But it takes him It took him at least a month or a bit more to, hit the acceptable standards in training and then finally get some minutes. And just as he's establishing himself in the team a little bit and he's featured in the last 3 games, bang, suddenly Liam Delap is very close to a return. So you've got to feel a little bit sorry for Marc Guiu. But look, I still think over the next 2, 3, 4 games, he's going to have a role to play. But yeah, I think if Sunderland want to take him back in January, then I think that's something that Chelsea, in my opinion, could potentially look at, given the fact that Liam Delap is going to return to fitness. There doesn't really seem to be the need for having Guiu around. Now, I know I've always banged on about having 3 strikers, but how much is Guiu actually going to play? Maybe we do keep him around the place, and he does feature every so often, but it would feel, I don't know, it would feel like a bit of a waste of his development and a bit of a waste of a season, personally. But who knows? That's the decision for a later stage. This is very good news. We do need Palmer back as well. Palmer's going to be touch and go for that week with Barcelona and Arsenal. Let's just see how he gets on. Again, no point rushing these players back. Maresca has been good at keeping players fit. Reece has become his usual self. We were lacking for 2 seasons. Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. Reece is back fit again. Lavia played 66 minutes, against Ajax. Played a half against Forest. We're slowly building him back in. Hopefully he can stay fit. Reece has done that now. Wesley Fofana is back to fitness as well. Obviously, he got concussed by fucking Jorgensen in that Carabao Cup game, but he's managed to keep himself fit for the majority of this season so far. And these are all important things, chat. These are all really important things that shouldn't be overlooked and should be given the praise that they deserve, because this is not something that we've been renowned for at Chelsea in recent times. We really haven't. We really haven't at all. And that's got to change. We cannot afford to be rushing players back. I think now we've got the luxury of having, a better squad and more options available. So there's not the need to rush these players back. There's not the same need as there has been in the past. But yeah, we've got to be looking at, continuing this and continuing to look after players, because otherwise it is it does go down as a major disappointment if we keep doing that. Guiu can have a positive role in our squad for the full year. Yeah, look, I don't see why he can't, but again, he may well have World Cup aspirations, and if he's not going to play at Chelsea very much sort of from next month onwards, then he maybe might think about returning to Sunderland. But then again, with Sunderland, that's the only other team that he could play for this season. I don't see much more of a looking at Sunderland than we do at Chelsea. They got Mayenda, they got Brian Brobby. He's going to be this in the same boat at Sunderland as well. So I think Guiu would benefit more from Champions League minutes, from minutes in the Cups and minutes in the Premier League as and when he gets them at Chelsea than he would be being a bit part player at Sunderland. He's going to be training with a higher caliber of players and be trained to a higher standard. So, yeah, I agree. For me, I don't see a future for Guiu at Chelsea beyond next season. But, right now, with how it's all going, I think he would benefit from sticking around for sure. Good thing is we don't need to rush Palmer back now that we have Estevao and Joao. Exactly. Once Delap returns, Delap and Guiu would be 9s and Pedro at 10. Yeah, for the time being, but then when Cole Palmer returns, that then slightly shifts the dynamic, in my opinion. Yes, big up, bro. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, that is the latest on Liam Delap. Could be back in the matchday squad for Chelsea against Wolves next week in the Carabao Cup. I will be there as always to potentially witness what we are seeing with Liam Delap in front of our very eyes. But we've got an important game to get through before that. So this is going to be very, very interesting. And you know what as well? Like in Delap's absence, Pedro's played up front. More recently, in the last few games, it's been Guiu with Pedro deployed deeper. And Guiu's definitely developing well as a 9. He looks much better than the player he was last season. And it also allows us to potentially unlock the best out of Joao Pedro as well. There's no doubt in my mind that Pedro played a lot better against Forest in the second half as soon as Guiu came on. There's no doubts about it. There's no doubts about it. Was I shy back in the days? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you're referring to like speaking on camera and stuff, then yeah, sure. Absolutely. It is quite difficult, but you just get used to it. And then obviously in the early days, by the way, I'm no means like some sort of established YouTube star, but once you've got to a certain point and you've got a chat that you can interact with, it makes the shows so much easier, because when you're at the start and you're bouncing off like 2 or 3 people in the chat, 2 or 3 live viewers, that's that is tough, but it's all part of the grind. But yeah, I suppose, yeah, if that's what you're referring to, I suppose, yeah, I think like everyone. I'm old enough to remember fans going in on the onus of dismantling both the training and medical teams. Yeah, they did. It seemed to be something that was changing every season, and there are obviously issues there. Right now, things seem to be pretty good, touch wood. So, yeah, I don't see any issues. I don't see any issues there at all. In my opinion, Guiu has 8 months to make a proper statement regarding his Chelsea career, bearing in mind Emmanuel Amiga coming through next season. Look, I'll be so honest. Unless Guiu scores like 15, 20 goals this season and, really impresses, I can't envisage a situation where he is at Chelsea next season, whether he goes on loan again or whether he's sold, because you're going to have Amiga, Joao Pedro, Liam Delap. There's no room at the inn. There's literally no room at the inn for Marc Guiu. He's a guaranteed profit. He was signed for £5 million, cheap release clause, which we took advantage of. And yeah, I can't see it. But look, I hope he does well this season, and I want him to contribute for us as and when he's called upon. Yeah, and this has always been the case. This has always been the case for me. I never saw Joao Pedro as a number 9. Some people may have looked at him as a number 9. He can play the 9, but he's much better in the 9 with a Cole Palmer or a creative player behind him, as we've discussed many times before. But I think his best position is playing as a number 10 off the striker, or potentially playing out wide as well. Potentially playing out wide also. So, yeah, we will obviously see on that front. But in regards to Marc Guiu, by the way, Maresca has made some interesting comments in regards to Guiu in training. He's made some very interesting ones about Guiu to start with, by the way. So we'll talk about him when it's in regards to how he thinks Guiu's developed. But the case of Guiu is interesting because we were all wondering why, you know, when Guiu came back, why is Guiu not playing? Why does he keep putting João Pedro up there? And we keep watching João Pedro struggle, not involved in games, being a passenger. And it's like, we've got Guiu on the bench. We need a number 9, and he's not using him. Now, we had a report in The Athletic the other day, I think it might have been earlier this week or maybe last week, about Guiu going to Maresca to ask about why he wasn't playing. They had a constructive chat and whatnot, and that's part and parcel of football. You know, if someone's not playing, you can go to the manager, and that's fine. And Maresca confirming in the presser today. We have a chat with Marc 2 weeks ago. I told him that I didn't like the way he was training, and he needed to change. He changed, and this is a good thing, right? You know, and we've seen it before at Chelsea. We saw it last season. We saw it with Noni Madueke on a couple of occasions. We saw it with Renato Vega as well. If you are not hitting the standards required in training, you will not play. You will not play. It is very, very simple. And so, obviously, whether it was the fact that Guiu wasn't hitting the standards, or whether he wasn't doing what Maresca wanted from him, or whether he was struggling to understand what was being required of him in training, he wasn't showing the understanding or whatever that he needed, then maybe it could be a number of those reasons. But what I really like about Enzo Maresca is the fact that he will stick to his guns. If you are not doing something right in training, if you're not understanding the tactical side of the game, if you're not understanding what's being asked of you, or if you're not hitting the required levels, it doesn't matter what level of player you are, whether you're a youngster, whether you're an established player, whether you're an international, you will not play. Simple as that. And now it's good that Maresca's had the chat with him. Yeah, we can move forward from there. Now, Guiu looks ready. He looks hungry. He's developing really well as a number 9. What is this recovery time? Well, look, to be honest, the Delap situation was about 10 weeks from the end of August. Ornstein in his update did say that he was looking to be back in training and return swiftly to playing in November. We're slightly ahead of schedule there. So, yeah, that's a positive thing. Yes, big up. Happy day, yes. Big up, brother. I'm doing well. You going to the game tomorrow? Yep, I'm there. Let me know if you're going. Honest conversations must be had by the gaffer and players. 100%. There's got to be that level of transparency and an open two-way line of communication between manager and players. It's really, really healthy. And it's massively, massively important, particularly when you've got so many young players. It's really important to have those conversations. Blue Coast Goats are underrated. Have you seen that striker at Strasbourg? Panicelli is looking very, very good. Amiga right now is injured at the moment, but Panicelli, who they plucked from the Spanish second division, is looking like a top player. Scored twice against Paris Saint-Germain. Scored again in the Conference League last night. This guy's looking good, and like you're sort of starting to think, shit, did we go for the wrong guy? Did we go for the wrong guy? Are we going for the wrong guy? I don't know. People really said Maresca was a yes man. Look, I think the yes man thing, to a certain extent, I kind of get where people are coming from in terms of at Chelsea, where you don't really have a say in a transfer policy. You work with what you're given, and it's almost like a put up or shut up situation. But yeah, look, I think he's very much his own person. You know, I think he's very much his own person, but I do understand why that's put there. Yeah, I hope so as well. We need that Premier League goal for Marc Guiu. By the way, guys, that is poor. We're just shy of 100 people in the building. We're on 34 likes. Guys, have some shame. Have some shame. That is absolutely embarrassing this morning, people. It's embarrassing. Guys, come on. We've had good news in regards to Liam Delap. We're here. The content's free. Smash the like button, chat. That's the least you can do for me. Let's get these likes up. Let's get this well towards 100 likes minimum. Come on, community. You can do this. Run it up. Run it up. You're better than this, guys, and it does really help me out. Obviously, the change of algorithm at the start of last month has fucked us, everyone. So, yeah, the smash of the like button helps more than you can believe. And please subscribe as well whilst you are new round here as well, people. Just so our next few fixtures, we need to put a run together. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I'll be in the MHL, as always. To be fair, Guiu has looked good for us when he's played. Yeah, he has. He made a difference against Liverpool. He made a massive difference against Forest. And he looks really good in that first half against Ajax. He looked really good, chat. Yes. Big up. I'm looking forward to another win as well. So yeah, look, that's really important. Really important. And we talk about standards at Chelsea. And it's good to see that Maresca is setting standards. The group are setting standards. And if you're not hitting those standards in one way or another, you won't play. And that is exactly how it should be. Exactly how it should be. And only then will things start to get better. Only then will the level start to rise. Only then will those things happen. So that is really important. And in return, and also in regards to other things on Marc Guiu, you know, because Maresca talked about how Guiu's developing. He also talked about what it means for João Pedro as well, because this does bring an interesting dynamic to the situation in regards to João Pedro. It brings a very interesting dynamic, chat, because Maresca on Guiu's development was saying, Marc is a typical number 9, physically strong, box player. Again, he can improve and do many things better. We are working with him every game to try and help him. In terms of João, we know he can play as a 9 or a 10. He's very good in both positions. So again, Maresca here stating that Pedro will continue to play as a 9 or a 10. I prefer him in the 10. I think he's much better in the 10. But it's good to have those options now. And particularly with Palmer not available, with Buonanotte not really fancied in that number 10 role in the Premier League. Pedro, the last few games he's played as a 9, it really hasn't worked. He's been isolated. He's been a passenger because we've not been getting the ball to him, and we haven't got creative enough players behind him who are trying to make an impact. That is what we need. And I would like to see more of that. The Guiu up front against Sunderland with João Pedro behind him in the 10. That for me is going to be the best solution for Chelsea, and that is also going to be the best solution for Pedro, and it's going to be great for Guiu as well. I think Guiu will massively benefit from having João Pedro play behind him as well. You know, that's going to make it a lot better. And this, you know, we're all fuming, by the way, about Tyreek George consistently playing, and that's why it's important not to react. I mean, it's hard. Obviously, you have to react with what's in front of you, but it's important to, you know, rectify and you know, change opinions and things that you've said once the full pictures come out. And it's obvious why Maresca now was picking Tyreek George at centre forward over Marc Guiu, because clearly Guiu wasn't hitting the standards required in training. And I know, obviously, we're not privy to that information at the time, and it looks like, well, what the hell is this manager doing? You've got a striker on the bench. Why are you not using him? So, yeah, you know, we need to remember as fans that we don't have access to everything. We just see whatever clips the club put out, and we see these guys at the weekend. We've got no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Pedro's been exposed as a less effective Firmino. No, I don't believe that to be. I don't believe that to be the case at all. I don't think that's the case at all. I think that's quite harsh. You know, I think João Pedro is a top player. He's shown it in the Club World Cup. He's shown it at the start of the season, but he needs to play off the lap. He needs to play off a centre forward, or he needs to have a creative number 10 behind him when he's playing. That is how, for me, you're going to get the best out of him. You know, it's as simple as that. And we've seen all his best performances have come. One at West Ham playing off the lap, and the others where he's had a creative number 10 behind him. It's as simple as that. It really is that simple. João Pedro has not suddenly become a bad player. He's not suddenly become ineffective. People need to look at the context as to why players aren't necessarily performing that well. And that is the situation. That we are, that we're in. Simple, really. Very simple, chat. So yeah, let's hope that continues. I'm delighted with Marc Guiu's development. I'm really pleased to see how he's doing, and he can very much serve a purpose for us. So yeah, let's hope that he can get his first Premier League goal, not only for Chelsea, but just his first Premier League goal in general in what is being dubbed as the Marc Guiu derby. But moving away from Marc Guiu, guys, we're going to be talking next on on that man, Estevao Willian, because there's now a growing, I'll just say growing pressure, but I suppose a growing pressure is the right phrase. A growing pressure to play Estevao in every game. He's been outstanding since he's arrived in the Premier League. What a player, what a talent. He has been brilliant. He's arguably been our most effective winger. He's arguably been our most impactful winger. And he's probably been, I don't want to say our best winger, because I think, you know, Pedro Neto's probably been our best winger, but he's been the one that's made the most impact. And there is now a growing call for him to play every game. But just like we've been discussing in terms of managing players who are coming back from injury, Maresca is going to manage Estevao very carefully. You know, he's going to manage Estevao carefully. Estevao, as much as we all want him to, is not going to start every single game. But this kid is special. He makes a major difference every time he comes on the pitch. There's an excitement every time he gets on the ball that he's going to make something happen. He plays without fear. He's direct. He takes players on. He's not afraid to try things. He's got an eye for goal. He works hard. He's got all the ingredients, but he's got to be managed. And I don't think he'll start on Saturday against Sunderland. He played the whole game against Ajax. I'd be surprised if he started again. And Maresca was asked about the temptation to play him all the time. And he said, balance for me is quite easy. We have 24 or 25 players, good players, but only 11 can start. Since I joined the club, I've shown that we change players. When they don't play, they're not happy. But they also know they can't play every game. And look, obviously we want Estevao to play every game. Obviously we want all our best players to play every game. And some players will play the vast majority of games. You know, your Caicedos, your Cole Palmer when he's fit and whatnot. But generally speaking, you can't go through a 50, 60 game season where you're constantly playing players every single week. That is just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And so something needs to change in that regard. You know, you've got to use the squad. And that's something that I've been critical of Maresca for last season, and I've been critical of Maresca for at times this season. Not making the best use of the squad. That is something that must change. And it is changing. You know, he made use of the squad against Forest. He again made use of the squad against Ajax. He'll make use of the squad against Sunderland on Saturday. And he'll do the same against Wolves in the Carabao ahead of the Spurs game. All you can ask of for the manager is to rotate the squad, give players an opportunity, and that is what he's doing. Look, have we got an unreal squad? No. Are we deficient in key areas? Yes. But we do have enough quality where we can be making changes. And now that Guiu is playing, now that he's ready to start, that takes the pressure off having to rush Delap back, and we can slowly integrate him back in. We've got options in Pedro Neto and Gittins, who had a good game against Ajax. He needs to now continue that. We've got Garnacho, who's not really hit the ground running yet. And we've also got Pedro Neto, who's had a very decent start to the season. But we've also got to look at players' welfare, player well-being. And Estevao will want to play all the time, but he'll know that he can't play every game as well. You know, the temptation is there, you know, but when you're young, it's very easy to burn young players out, play them way too much when they're young and their bodies are still developing. And then you get to sort of mid-20s and they're already burnt out and they're having a bit of a decline. We've seen it with players like Michael Owen. I worry about someone like Lamine Yamal playing so much football at such a young age. You know, is that going to affect him later on in his career? It's really, really important to manage these young players properly. And I would love to see Estevao start every single game. I really want to. But for the greater good of Chelsea and for Estevao, he needs to be managed. And that is going to mean some games, brother, you're going to have to sit on the bench, whether we like it or not. But he can make a decent impact from the bench. And he can also make a decent decent impact starting as well. That's the important thing. And that's all you can do. And that's what you want every player to do. Make an impact every time you step on the pitch, whether it's from the start or whether it's from the bench. And that's what he's doing. And with the wide players we've got, there's going to be more rotation this weekend. And I would argue that really so far this season, on a consistent basis, the only players who have really made an impact in the wide areas are Pedro Neto and Estevao. Garnacho has really struggled. I've been disappointed with him. And Gittins has struggled as well, even though he put in a positive performance against Ajax. We need to see much more. We've got to see a lot more from him. So, yeah, there's more of a call for Estevao to start because he is a generational talent and because he's been absolutely smashing it. But maybe there'd be less of a call if the others were actually stepping up and performing to a similar level. But the reality of the situation is these guys aren't performing to a similar level. And I cannot wait. It's just been mentioned in the chat here. Palmer and Estevao playing together. That is something that we've not been able to have. We saw it for 5 minutes against Man United, and that's the only time they've been named in the same team. But I think that is a prospect that is mouth-watering, chat. An absolutely mouth-watering prospect to see Estevao and Palmer together. Whether that's Palmer playing inside right with Estevao central, whether that's Estevao on the right, Palmer central. I cannot wait for the link-up because that link-up is going to be absolutely sensational and it's going to be very scary. It's going to be scary for the Premier League, but it's not going to be scary for us. It's not going to be scary for us. It really isn't. Given his humility and proximity of family being close, I think Estevao will embrace the team, looking out for his best interest. Absolutely. And you know what? It's so refreshing now. We've gone from, players like Jadon Sancho who are, paying money to girls to turn up at games and stuff. And now we've got superstars like Estevao rocking up with Bibles to games. This is the vibe we're looking for. In God we trust, people. In God we trust. We've got players who are embracing their faith. We've got players like Estevao, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Chalobah, all guys that are deeply religious and deeply embrace their faith. And it's a massive part of their game and the people and the players that they are. And that is a massive difference from players like Jadon Sancho, paying girls to turn up, bringing us unnecessary distractions to the football pitch. Now, brother, this Chelsea's different now. We've got superstars and we rock up to Stamford Bridge and wherever we are with fucking Bibles. And that's what we do. That is what we do. And that is a refreshing difference to what we've had in the past. Humble players, grounded players, players who want to improve, players who are grateful to be at a football club, and players who are grateful for the opportunity that they have been given and that they have worked so hard for. These are all major, major things. Bro, we're holier than thou. We absolutely are. We need players that are serious and not players who cares about girls and just money. Yep. Noni and Sancho was playing. Sancho was fine for us, but he wasn't fully focused. He weren't fully focused, and that's what you want. You want fully focused players. Every day of the week, I want my players turning up with a Bible over turning up with a fucking, distractions to the pitch. And even worse, you've actually paid money for them to be there. Come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing here, chat? What are we doing here? What else is popping? Yes, big up, brother. Hope you're well. What's my 11 for tomorrow? We're going to get into that. Yeah, he did score in the final, but he was underwhelming. He should have done much more than he did. And he picked money over wanting to sign for us. They have worked hard to be able to enjoy their money. If I was rich, nobody could tell me. No, I'm not. No, exactly. No, I'm not telling people what to do with their money. But you don't want those distractions. You want people that are fully focused on the game. And unfortunately, with someone like Jadon Sancho, it looks like external distractions and money are more important to him than football. That's the reality. Right now, no, he's not. But I think Garnacho can be useful. And I'd like to think that Garnacho could contribute more this season than what Sancho did last season. I'd like to think he'd be able to get better numbers than that. What's my thought on Gittins? He has been playing well and needs to work on his shooting. Yeah, look, Gittins Gittins was good against Ajax. You know, he was direct. He was taking his man on. He was creating opportunities. He still needs to work on his decision-making and his end product. Even though I think we were 3 or 4-1 up at the time, he's still making poor decisions on the ball. That needs to improve. But look, that was a positive step in the right direction against Ajax. But he has to continue that in the Premier League and continue that against a better standard of opposition. But that was a positive step in the right direction. So hopefully that continues. Lonnie always strikes me as the guy who cares more about the lifestyle than the football. Look, I think it's hard to tell. I don't want to judge people's character. I think actually Madueke, you know, maybe to a certain extent, but it's hard when you're young. And, you know, I don't think people realize, you know, these are young kids that have got an amazing opportunity. They're in the public light. They're growing up in the public spotlight. We all make mistakes at any age. And they have to make their mistakes under public scrutiny. And when you've got that much money so young, you are going to make mistakes. You are going to behave, you know, in the wrong way on certain occasions. You know, that's just life. But as long as they learn and they mature from it, that's the most important thing. Yeah, we're going to get to that. Only time will tell. I mean, I personally don't think we needed him. But I'm more than happy to be. I'm more than happy to be proven wrong on that. More than happy to be proven wrong on that. Guys, keep smashing the likes. We're 110 in the building. We're on 64 likes only. Let's get this up to 100 likes as quickly as possible. Keep smashing the like button. Keep subscribing to the channel if you are new round here as well. I would really appreciate that. It would massively help me out. We are slowly grinding our way towards 20k. Things have been tough recently. We're a couple hundred or so away from 19k. So please smash the likes and please subscribe, chat. It would really help me out. But yeah, run these likes up, people. I know, but let's just give him a bit more time. And eventually, if nothing happens and it makes sense to go at him, yeah, of course. We're not going to sign any more wide players in the window. In January, no chance. You know, we've got Quenda coming next summer, and that'll be the wide player that comes in. Yeah, no, I'm not writing players off. You know, I'm not writing players off. You know, you can only judge from what you've seen in the limited games that there have been this season, and both Garnacho and Gittins have been underwhelming. They've had a couple of decent games here and there, but you need much more. But it's early days, and I will very much be giving them the time to show that they can bring much more to the table. That is exactly what I will be doing. 100% that's what I'll be doing. Football is very funny. It's not done on paper. I thought this league was cooked when Paul signed Isak. Yeah, exactly. You know, it doesn't matter how good a team you are. You've got to you've got to deliver. Players still got to settle in. I mean, Semenyo is a very good player. I would have taken Semenyo over a Gittins or a Garnacho, but obviously we decided not to go down that route. But I absolutely would have taken a Semenyo or a Gittins over. Oh, sorry, a Semenyo over a Gittins or a Garnacho. I hope so, but I don't see it happening. Bro, that would be wonderful. But again, that is something which, unfortunately, I don't see happening. Quenda is a right wing, yes, and maybe we need to develop him so he can play on the left as well. I can't wait to see him either. He's looking really exciting. I feel like cup games will be the best option for Garnacho to show his best. Yeah, I think so. Quenda 18, I think. 18, 19. So yeah, look, that is obviously, yeah, the squad needs to be balanced. Maresca is doing his best to balance that squad. And yeah, the squad's looking really together right now. That was highlighted by Enzo Fernandez giving the penalty to Estevao. There's a real togetherness, there's a real respect, there's a real appreciation, and there's a real cohesiveness and good feel around the club right now and amongst the squad. Really, really good vibes at the football club right now. So long may that continue. Let's get into the game against Sunderland. Let's get into the game against Sunderland, because that is going to be very, very interesting. Let me bring a lineup on screen for you lot. Let me bring a lineup on screen and let's talk through the team that we would like to see. Obviously, I'll be having the final say. But let's bring this to the table, chat. Let's see what we have Let's see what we can do. Let me just bring this up now. What are we doing? Right. Okay. I'm going to bring this on the screen now, and we're going to talk through it, guys. We're going to talk through it. So there were 10 changes from the team that played Forest to the team against Ajax. I suspect there's going to be a number of more changes. Maybe not 10. Steve, I hope Steve starts, but I don't think Steve will start. No, I'm not comfortable with Chalobah playing the left centre-back position because it really limits our build-up. You know, whenever he receives it on that side, he's constantly having to turn backwards, and that is not ideal. That's not what we're looking for, chat. That is not what we are looking for. No, it's not about can't do it. It's just about management and rotation. It's not about can't do it. No, if he has to, he will, but it's not about that. Let's start then. Obviously, Jorgensen was in goal on Wednesday night. Had nothing to do, but he should have saved the penalty. Sanchez, we know, will be back in. And actually, in fairness to Sanchez, other than the Man United red card, which was a disgrace, he actually hasn't been that bad this season. He actually hasn't been that bad. In terms of left back, obviously Hato played on Wednesday. Cucurella will come back in. Hato, I actually felt, was reasonably good in that game and is continuing to develop, continuing to adapt, which is really important. So that is Cucurella in at left back. Malo Gusto is suspended. Reece James got a night off against Ajax, which is really important. And he will play at right back, no doubt about it. Now, this is where it gets interesting because for me personally, I'm playing Achimpong at centre half. But now the big question is who partners him. Now, for me, Rolls-Royce, Reece, Fofana, Josh and Cuckoo. Fair enough. Josh and Trev. Why are we managing minutes for a player that's clearly ready to start? He's clearly our best winger. No, but it's not. This is what people aren't understanding, right? You know, it's a long season. It's a young player. We've got a lot of games. We've got a squad to use. And that squad will be used. You know, that's the reality of it. Pedro Neto will definitely play wide. And maybe it'll be Estevao. I don't know. But, you know, you don't want to run players into the ground. You know, that's what you don't want to be doing. Brighton and Brentford was bad. Yeah, they were. For me, though, an interesting thing, I would personally go for Fofana, but I think I know it's going to be Tosin because of the fact that other than Brentford, Sunderland are the team that have done the most long throws, you know, this season in the Premier League. They get the ball in the box. They're big units. They're physical. And maybe for that reason, he'll go with Tosin. But I would actually like to see Achimpong and Fofana. That is what I would like to see. But it's really difficult to call who is going to be partnering Achimpong. But such has been Achimpong's form this season and how he's done. And credit to him, it's now a case of not is Achimpong playing. Achimpong should be playing. And it's a case of now who partners him. And for me, I would go Wesley Fofana. And that is the back four that I would go with for this game. Now, we have got an interesting conundrum in midfield. Yeah, I think Tosin will start. I would personally like to see Fofana and Achimpong start, but I think we know that Tosin will start. I think we absolutely know that. But that's what I would go with. In the midfield, we had the luxury of giving Caicedo and Enzo a half each. Really welcome that, to give those guys rest, because that's not something we're able to do very often throughout the season. So yeah, it's excellent news that we were able to do that. Note, Fofana is not injured. No, in terms of fullbacks, I don't think it matters too much. Centre halves, you ideally don't want to be changing the partnership every game. That's something I'm very big on. That's something that I've mentioned a number of times. But I don't know. I get the feeling that Maresca will chop and change that centre-back pairing, which, all right, I can understand it to a certain extent, but I don't think it's I don't think it's ideal. I don't think it's ideal. Fafana's not injured, no. I agree with you. I agree with you. That's what I would like to see, and that is what I would like to go with. 100%. That is exactly what I would like to see, chat. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, so going into this game, obviously Lavia started the last 2 games. I think Lavia will be on the bench personally. I'll probably have him on the bench for this game. And I think we go back to the strongest midfield. You go Moises Caicedo and Enzo. Very simple. Picks itself. Both in top form. Both outstanding midfield players. 2 of the best midfielders in the Premier League. I don't care what anyone says. These guys are 2 of the best in the league. It really is as simple as that. And yeah, that is the situation that we will be going with, guys. Caicedo, Enzo, pivot. In the number 10 is João Pedro. For me, that we need to see Pedro playing in the 10 off Marc, Guiu. So we go João Pedro in the 10. Marc, Guiu, we know is going to start up front. The wings is where we've got a decision to make. I think on one side it's straightforward. The other side, it's not so straightforward. I would love Estevao to start, but I know he's not. So we're going to go Neto on one side. And it's this left wing that's the interesting one. You know, this is going to be the interesting one. Personally, I think it is going to be Garnacho. He didn't play at all against Ajax. I suspect he will start in this match against, even despite a very good performance by Gittins, I think that Maresca will rotate again and he'll go back to Neto and Garnacho. I mean, I could be wrong, but that is the team that I go for. I'd expect Gittins and Steve to start in the Carabao against Wolves in the week. So yeah, that would be my expectations. Guys, keep smashing the like button. We're 74 likes, 124 in the building. Big up to every single one of you who is locked in. Make sure you are smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds. Let's get these likes up. 125 in the building, only 74 likes. Come on, chat. We're better than this. Smash that like button. And obviously subscribe if you're new. But let's get these likes up. Come on, people. I'd appreciate it. I kind of hear it, but I also don't. I'm not. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that at all. The thing is, I've got faith we win, but at the same time, we actually can't. No, we absolutely cannot underestimate them at all. No, Sunderland are no mugs. I get it. Their away record's not been particularly good. They lost against Burnley away and they lost against Man United away. So I think their 2 defeats have both come away from home. And they've had 1 win on the road, and that was at Nottingham Forest. For me, I'm going to stick Garnacho there. And so that would be my starting 11 for the team against Sunderland. Do I think Enzo Maresca will go with that team? I think he'll go with the majority of it. I just don't think. I think I'll probably get 1 or 2. I'll probably get 1 or 2 wrong. I think I'll get 1 or 2 wrong, and that's okay. That is okay. There's no issue with that. So that's the team that I go with. That team is more than good enough to get the win. More than good enough to get the win. So yeah, we're looking to make it 5 wins in a row, chat. 5 wins in a row in all comps. I know that doesn't sound like much, but we're starting to build some momentum and we're starting to build a winning run. We've beaten Forest. We now need to beat Sunderland. We need to go and beat Wolves in the Carabao. We need to then go and win against Tottenham away and then beat Wolves again in the Premier League. That is what we need to be doing. It really is as simple as that, chat. Really is as simple as that. We've got to start putting points on the board now. So that is the team that I would go with. Let's have a look at the Premier League table and what this could potentially mean for Chelsea if we are able to get the 3 points that we think we will get. So this is the state of play. This is the state of play heading into match day 9. So we're 5 points behind Arsenal. We're two points off second place, which is, considering the games that we've lost and dropped points in, really frustrating because we should be top of it. We should be joint top at a minimum, but it is what it is. There's nothing that we can do about that now. We can't go back over things that have happened. But a win here would take us on to 17 points. Man City have got a tough game. Let's have a look at the fixtures actually this weekend. So, teams that were in and around us. You've got Liverpool away at Brentford at 8 p.m. on Saturday night. That's a tough game, by the way. That is a tough game. Brentford is a difficult place to go to. There's no guarantees. No, he was on loan there, but he's not there. He's not on loan there anymore. He's a Chelsea player. He was recalled. Obviously, if Guiu was still on loan, then he wouldn't be able to feature for Sunderland in this game. But yeah, no, he is. He's very much available. He is very much available. So there are no issues there. We have them. Yeah, we have them lot coming up next season. Not next season. Sorry, next month. So look at the fixtures. Right, Man City away at Villa, very tough game. Liverpool away at Brentford, tough game. Arsenal host Palace. You'd probably expect Arsenal to beat Palace. But yeah, you look at the teams that we're looking to close the gap on. Bournemouth have got to be in that predicament as well. Bournemouth play Forest. You'd expect Bournemouth to probably beat Forest. Although now with Dyche there, you never know. But yeah, this is an opportunity now for us to overtake some of the teams ahead of us. I know we're literally talking 1 or 2 points difference, but there's a chance we could leapfrog Liverpool or City this weekend, potentially. But that would still ask a lot. But yeah, I think Chelsea are in a good position right now. I think we're slightly going under the radar here, which is an important thing to point out. No one's really speaking about us too much, which is fine. We just get on with what we're doing. And we wait and see. We wait and see what that brings. That's the most important thing, chat. That is the most important thing. We're going to wait and see what that brings. Let me just quickly answer the phone. Bear with me. Mate, can I ring you back in a... Yeah. What was I saying? Yes, all we can do is focus on ourselves here. I think we are going under the radar. I think people are. I don't say people are sleeping on Chelsea because I don't believe that is fully the case. But I do see a situation where people are actually maybe not taking us as seriously as maybe they should. But I'm more than happy with that. I think we need to understand that. Oh yeah, no, same when but I think also we need to apply context to that. Sunderland have not played particularly good teams. Obviously, they've done very well to get the points on the board that they have got, but you do need to apply. You have got to apply context to these situations. You do need to do that. But look, we've closed the gap on Liverpool to 1 point. We're 2 points behind Man City, and I think we can be happy with where we're at. Must beat Sunderland, must win game. And, we've got this run of games coming up where we've got an opportunity to put a serious amount of points on the board. a serious amount of points on the board, and we need to take that. We absolutely need to take that. We have to. It's very simple, chat. Very, very simple. We have to take those opportunities, and we must take those opportunities. We haven't played good teams, barring Liverpool. We lost to Amaris. You know, I'm also aware that the only good team we've played is Liverpool. I'm aware of that. But again, we got to apply context to the United loss, because we went down to 10, lost the goalkeeper in 5 minutes. Maresca took all the attackers off. 11 v 11, we win that game, in my opinion. We absolutely win that game, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. And this is what I mean, right? And let me just bring up Maresca's record, because the people that, you know, slag off Maresca or are Maresca out or whatever it might be. Let's bring up his record, because his record at Chelsea is actually very, very good. It's very good. Let me just find it now. Bear with me, chat, because the record is actually good. This is it here. Certainly recent record as well. I don't know. I still think we're a little while away from those questions being asked. But yeah, I absolutely hear it. I do absolutely hear it. You know, that is something which could start happening. Yeah, anyone can beat anyone. I agree on that. Right, let's bring up this Maresca record, because I think there's a lot of people that give Maresca a hard time, and his record actually speaks for itself. In the last 7 months, Chelsea have lost 1 game under Maresca without a red card, that being Bayern Munich away last month. So we beat Fulham away, we beat Everton at home. This is all last season. Djurgården, Liverpool, Djurgården, lost to Newcastle, a Jackson red, lost to Flamengo, Jackson red. Bayern was the first loss without red, and then obviously Sanchez red against United, and a Chalobah red against Brighton. So if you look at it, right, we have lost 1, 2, 3. We've lost 4 games. Hello, 1, 2, 5 games we've lost in the last 7 months. The only game that we lost without a red was the Bayern Munich game, and we gifted them all 3 goals. So you actually look at our record over the last 7 months, it has been very, very good. The team has been playing well, and Maresca has been doing a really, really good job. And we are a hard team to beat. When we're not self-sabotaging and getting ourselves sent off, we are a difficult side to beat. There's no escaping that fact. We are a difficult side to beat. Defensively, we actually are a lot better than people give us credit for. And despite not having Palmer for large parts of the season, and despite not having Liam Delap, we're still the 2nd top scorers in the league this season. We've scored more goals than Arsenal, more goals than Liverpool, and we've scored 1 less goal than Man City. So Man City are top scorers with 17. We've scored 16, and that's without Palmer, and that's without Delap. So, you know, this narrative that Maresca's not doing a good job, or Maresca's not that good, or whatever, what does Maresca have to do for Chelsea fans to get on board with him? What has he got to do, chat? Because I'm struggling right now to see what more he can do. What more can he do? You know, what more can we do? And I criticised him for the United game, and rightly so, because of the way that he managed the situation. And the same with the Brighton game. But I've actually been impressed with the job that he's done this season, and he deserves credit. And he's doing a very, very good job at Chelsea, chat. He's doing a very good job at Chelsea. Sure, look, I get it. You know, if we played in the first half against a better side like we did against Forest, we probably would have been a few goals down. But this is all ifs and buts. We won. But I'm fully aware that, you know, we can't have a level of first half performance like we did against Forest against a better side. That has absolutely got to change. But Maresca is a very, very good manager. Some of the criticism is justified. Of course it is. Of course it is. He is someone that is going to continue to make mistakes. This is a rookie manager in just his third season as a manager. Yeah, mistakes are going to be made. That's cool. That's all right. You know, just like players are going to make mistakes, this manager will also make mistakes. And there is no issue with that whatsoever. As long as he learns from the mistakes and as long as players learn from their mistakes and we are making positive steps in the right direction, then for me, there really is no issue for me. There really is no issue. And long may it continue. I'm really pleased with Maresca. Yeah, exactly. Of course he is. Of course he is. Look, there have been a few slow starts this season, but I think you've got to look at the overall picture of the game. Every single manager makes mistakes. Mistakes are going to be made. It's part and parcel of the game. It is what it is. I do believe we're on the right track under Maresca. I do fully believe that. Can he guide us to a Premier League title? If he's given the tools, I think Maresca is very much a caliber of manager who is capable of winning the Premier League, who's capable of winning a Champions League, but he's got to be given the right tools. That is the reality of the situation. I wouldn't say it was a recipe for. I wouldn't say it was a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe that's going to involve a number of mistakes and maybe a few tough years, but we are gradually improving, and that is the most important thing. Yeah, I think I don't want to make excuses for him because he shouldn't have done what he did tactically. But yeah, it probably did catch him off guard. No, of course he doesn't. But again, we're talking about legends of the game, some of the best managers there's ever been. People need to realize that, you know, those are unique managers, unique personalities. We want the managers to have a personality. We want a manager to be their own person. We don't want a manager to copy and try and be someone else. We want a manager to be their own person. So yeah, that is what needs to happen. That is what needs to happen. And he is forging his own track and he's being his own person, and credit to him for that. Yeah, of course he is, because he's a Chelsea player. If he'd been on loan at Sunderland, then no, he wouldn't have been available due to the loan rules. But he's available. He is available. Bro, he's already won 2 trophies, so I don't know what you're talking about. Agreed. Yeah, in terms of the centre-backs, it's not of the required level. But again, people thought the defence was poor last season, and we had the 3rd best defence in the Premier League. So whilst there's definite room for improvement, it's not as bad as what so many people have been saying. I wouldn't say we're not going to win the league easily, but you had a top goalkeeper and a top centre-back, then 100% this is a title-challenging team. It absolutely is. But again, the defence is not awful. We've got the best fullback pairing in the league in Reece James and Cucurella. Yes, the centre-backs are not ideal, but the attack's not awful. João Pedro Neto and Cole Palmer are all very good players. We've got Estevao. You know, it's not awful. The goalkeeper's not good enough to win a Premier League, and neither is the centre-back pairing. But to say the attack and stuff is awful is not true. Yeah, it's a stupid comparison. It's a stupid comparison. I don't know why. I don't know why that level of comparison is being made. Chat, we're 10 likes away from 100 likes. Make sure you are smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds to do. Run it up, chat. Final 10 likes on the stream. Come on, people. We've got this. We've got this. Come on, guys. Run it up. Run it up. The defense is only poor because we decided to play against ourselves. Yeah, we've not defensively. The only mistakes we've made have been self-inflicted. We've not really been torn apart in any games by the goals that we've conceded. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, to be honest. Yeah, exactly as I said. Exactly as I said. We need it. We absolutely need it. We absolutely need a defensive revamp next summer in that centre back department. That is 100% what we need. 100% what we need. No doubt about it in my mind. And let's hope that we do it. Let's hope that we do it. Yeah, Josh is going to play an important role. I don't think it should be Josh and Tosin. I think it should very much be Josh and Fofana. But I think we're going to see it chop and change throughout the season, to be honest. Yeah, he's looking like a very good talent, but again, there's a long way to go and he needs to be nurtured. Top centre-backs still make mistakes, but they make them far less frequently. Yeah, it's good of him, isn't it? Very good of him. Question, would you say if Colwell wasn't injured, we need a centre-back? No, we still need a centre-back regardless, because we were looking at, even when Colwell was fit, we were desperately trying to get Dean Huijsen, and he went to Real Madrid instead. So we were still looking for a fullback, even with those players, we were still looking for a fullback. Can't see it happening. Agreed. Yeah, so I'm sure they're having a look. I mean, you got Mamadou Sarr at Strasbourg, who is our player, who they obviously rate highly and think is very good. So yeah, maybe we'll have to go. Maybe he'll be the one. I mean, I wouldn't quite go that far, but yeah, he's doing well. I mean, that is the only reason why you would make a point for playing Tosin, is he's the one that replicates closest what Levi Colwell does in terms of passing out from the back and building up in terms of them line breaking passes. But in terms of his defensive qualities, Tosin shouldn't really be in the team. Yeah, no, look, we did a bit, but we didn't concede, and that's the most important thing. And look, we've not played that badly this season in defensively. We really haven't. Do you think we'll bring Amiga in Jan? No, I'd be stunned. I'd be absolutely stunned. I think there's virtually no chance of that happening. Virtually no chance. I personally don't see it. I don't think I've got a hot take of the day. No, I don't think I've got one. I don't know. That's pretty boring, isn't it? Let me have a think. Yeah, but look, that wasn't the replacement, though. In terms of numbers in the squad, sure, but Tosin wasn't signed as a one-in, one-out with Thiago Silva. That just wasn't the case. I will be in MHL tomorrow. What block am I? I can't remember. Let me have a quick look. But yeah, we'll be MHL tomorrow. As usual. Let's have a look. MHL block 10. Yeah, we're block 10 tomorrow. Block 10 MHL. I don't think Badiashil's not better than Colwell at build-up. No, he's not, because you can't play for 3 clubs in the same season. Sanchez is a very good shot stopper. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that, chat. I really don't. That is a fair take. No, No, I don't. I don't. I'll sit Matthew Harding lower or upper, or I'll sit in the shed. I don't sit in the west or the east stand. I don't think the atmosphere is particularly good there, so I prefer to sit in the other ones. But look, if those are the only tickets available, then I'll sit there because I want to be at the game. But yeah, normally I'm either Matthew Harding or shed. I don't tend to go to west or east stand. But that's just my personal preference. That's just my personal preference. You know, nothing. Each to their own in that regard. Each to their own. Let's have a look. Oh, do you know there was one thing I wanted to touch on, chat. There was a report last night about Andre Santos being a midfield target for Man United, which is a strange one. Let me find it now. This is it. Chelsea's Andre Santos is an ambitious target for Man United. The Brazilian was discussed initially during the early stage talks for Garnacho. Chelsea's position is clear. Santos is simply not for sale. Look, Santos has done reasonably well so far this season. There's been a couple of disappointing performances, but look, you know, he's getting used to the Premier League. He's getting used to a new team, new way of playing. He's not leaving. They had the bid from Al Qudsiya in the summer in Saudi, turned it down. Santos is going to, I think, have a very key role to play this season. Will play a lot of games. Look, he's content right now. World Cup season. He feels that he's going to get enough minutes at Chelsea to keep his place in the World Cup squad. So let's see how that goes. But we're gonna find out. We are gonna absolutely find out about Andre Santos this season. I'm excited for what he can do. He's clearly a very talented boy. We've seen what he can do at Strasbourg, and he's part of a very competitive midfield with Lavia, Enzo, Caicedo, and whatnot. He's been okay this season. There's been nothing unbelievable from him. But, you know, this is a young kid. He's 21 years of age, and he will absolutely improve. I don't see Chelsea selling him. You know, certainly not anytime soon either. I don't see Chelsea selling him. He's got lots to offer, and we're in a very, very busy period, and he will get a lot of opportunities. But of course, you know, yeah, he does need to step up and improve his levels. He does. You know, that's that. You know, he's a player that Chelsea massively believe in. And he's not going to be going anywhere. No, he's not. I've got no idea. That's I can't predict the future. At the moment, you would say no, and that's fair. But maybe he could at some point. I don't know. But he will start some games ahead of them this season. I don't. He won't start at a weekend. He won't start tomorrow. I think he'll start in a Carabao though. He'll start in a Carabao against Wolves, I'd imagine. But yeah, he's a level below Enzo Caicedo, and I'd probably say he's a bit below Romeo Lavia as well. And that's just the way it goes. But yeah, look, he couldn't be in a better place to learn, you know, from the likes of Enzo, Caicedo, two of the best midfield players in world football to learn from. That is a very, very good place to be. And I'm confident that he'll continue to get better and better in his time. Oh, fuck, I need to charge my laptop. He'll get better and better in his time at Chelsea. Simple. Very, very simple. No questions asked on that one. He will absolutely get better. Absolutely, he'll get better. But yeah, it's a strange one. I don't know if Isugu is a level above him. I wouldn't be so sure on that personally. But yeah, he needs time to settle in. All these players need time. I've got no problems. Yeah, Lavia didn't play particularly well against Forest, but he's coming back from a long-term injury, and he had Malo Gusto alongside him in midfield. This is the problem, bro. You don't apply any context to situations as to why certain things may have happened. Bro, I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, maybe he will. We're still awaiting Isugu's Premier League debut for Chelsea. That hasn't happened so far. We are still waiting for that. But yeah, a fully fit Lavia is unreal. You know, I think honestly, Lavia is a phenomenal player, a phenomenal talent, someone really, really good. And yeah, let's just hope that he can stay fit. Let's hope that he can stay fit. That's going to be the most important thing. Yeah, of course he does. Like every player does. And he's going to be managed in the same way Reece was, and he's going to be managed in the same way that Fofana has been. You know, they're going to be given minutes as and when. You know, they're going to be looked after. They're going to build them up slowly so that, you know, they stay fit for a long period of time. Because that ultimately here is the end game. Yeah, exactly. And Lavia was good against Ajax. But yeah, interesting that obviously Santos is still attracting interest from big clubs. And yeah, that's something that I think we're going to see much more of. But as long as he's getting regular enough minutes at Chelsea, I've got no reason to think that he doesn't want to be here. But yeah, I think we will beat Sunderland tomorrow for sure. Yeah, potentially could be. Absolutely. Absolutely, it could be. But yeah, guys, get your score predictions in the chat for the Sunderland game. Let me know what you're thinking score-wise. Let's hear your scores. We've got Warriors coming with a 5-0. Fair enough. Could we score 5 goals twice at the Bridge in the space of a few days? We've got 2-0 here, 3-1, 2-0. Yeah, that was my prediction as well. I think we'll go 3-1. I think we'll get 3-1. But for me, as long as we win, that is the most important thing. That is the most important thing. We've got a lot of predictions coming in here. 4-0, 2-1, 2-0, 6-1, 3-1, 3-0, 3-1, 3-0, 4-2, 2-0. Yes, big up, brother. Hope you're doing well. 3-1 Chelsea. Yeah, okay. So we got people feeling very, very confident about a Chelsea win, as they should be. You know, if you can't feel confident about a Chelsea win at home to Sunderland, then when can you feel confident about a win? Guys, we're 4 likes away from 100 likes. Smash the like button. It's free. It takes seconds to do. Let's get this up to 100 likes. Let's have one last look to see if anything else has happened, and then I will round this one out. What have we got going on here? Doesn't look like anything new, people. Doesn't look like anything new. Doesn't look like anything new is going on. Ganacho and Neto to score. Sunderland low block. I don't want to lose. I think 3-1 for me. 3-1. I hope so, bro. I hope so. Yep, let's wait and see. But guys, I'm going to round this one out here. Big up to all of you for the support this afternoon / this morning. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Let's hope Chelsea can get the job done. Make it 5 wins in a row in all competition and get no red cards as well. But guys, hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. If you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the opposition preview with Conrad from Black Cats TV. Apologies, by the way. I look like I'm moving in minus 4K. For some reason, it was a bit blurry my end, even though it was fine whilst I was recording, but you can still hear the audio. My picture's just a bit pixelated. So please go and check out the opposition preview on the channel now. Enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon. Enjoy the game if you're coming tomorrow or wherever you're watching it. Big love for the support. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Smash that like button on the way out. Get this to 100 likes. Subscribe if you're new. Up the Chelsea, and I'm out. Peace.